Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Krishna Gopal. In the last video we have discussed about the tuple. Tuple is a data structure in the Python and we discuss in the detail from the Python for Data Analysis by O'Reilly book. In today's video we are going to discuss about the list. List is a different data structure in the Python and very useful when we do the lot of data processing. So what is list? What are the operation in the list? What are the function we have to be study in the list? That what we are going to discuss in today's video. And let's start today's video. Today's we are going to talk about the list. So I'm just going to my Jupyter notebook where I write the most bullet points what we are going to discuss today's. So we start from the list. So list is another data structure in the Python. First we see how we can define the list. So to define the list is very easy to define. You have to just put your elements inside the square bracket. So let me tell you here how you can define the list in the Python. So let's see, I'm defining the my list. So in the my list I'm going to put some elements, say 1 2 3 54, let's say. And how to print the my list, just give the my list here and you can see the 1 2 3 4 54 is the list. And now if you have suppose the string, then how you can convert this string into the list? You have to be define the list inside, put the name, and you can see the string different element of the list. So that's a very easy way how we can define the list. Talking more about list here, so list objects are mutable. What we studied in the last video about the tuple, we studied that tuples object is immutable, that we can't change any object in a tuple, and tuple have a fixed length, but the list objects are the mutable and having the variable length. You can add any element and you can remove any element from the list. So here the one of the most important question comes here, what is the difference between the list and tuple? So we can say, so list is not a immutable, list is a mutable and having the variable length, whereas the tuple is a immutable sequence of objects in Python and having a fixed length. So this is the one basic difference between the list and tuple. And the list is much more used in the field of a data pre-processing compared to the tuple, but tuple have own benefits to use. So you have to be decide according to the problem what data structure you're going to be used. Then moving forward, let's see how we can access the elements from the list. Same like how you can access the element from the tuple, same you have to be give here. You have to be pass the index number inside the square bracket. You know already I defined the my list is my list, so I want to access the second element from this. So what I have to do, my list, and I have to be passed the 1 as an index, and you can see the 2 is the number which is at the first is the second position. The index of the list is start from the 0, not to start from the 1. That's very obvious. So this is the way we access the list element. Now I'm telling the list is much more useful in the data processing. How we use the list in a data processing task, like you have to be print some numbers, but you are not sure which number to put. So you are already very familiar from the range function, how we can use the range function. So if you pass here the range 10, so you can see here the range 10 is give us to the range 0 10, but you want to be print the numbers and you want to store the numbers in some kind of a data structure. So what you can do, you can pass here the list, all the numbers between this range come inside the list. See, so 0 to 9, all the numbers are come between the in the list. So that's the way that list is much more useful in the data processing task. Now come to the most important point, that how we can add the element in the list. So adding an element in the list, we have the three methods. The first is the append, second is the insert, third is the extend. So by using the append method, you can add any element in the list at the end position. So you have one list, so if you write dot append 3, so that 3 goes to the last position of your list. Second method come to the insert method. So what insert method is, you have to be defined first which index position you want to put the element, and you just pass the element in that position and it will be the insert in that list. Third come as a extend. So extend method mostly we use when we have our objective to create the bigger list from the two lists. So there we use the extend method. Now let's see every method one by one with an example, so you can understand more how these three methods work. So let's see first how we can add the element in the list by using the append method. So already I have a list, so my list is my list 1 2 3 54. I want to add the 100 in this list. So if I use here dot append, dot append 100, and I say I want to print. So if you print your my list, so you can see 1 2 3 54 100. So this 100 come at the last index of this list. But suppose you have some kind of a problem, like you want to add the one kind of a string in the list at the second position of this list, means the first index you want to add some kind of a string, you want to add some name in that list. Before going forward, I would like to tell you also what is the difference between the list and array. When we study the C language, we study their array, and here we are studying the list. So what is the difference between the array and list? So for the broad point of view, you can understand like the list, you can store the non-homogeneous type of data. That means you can store the integer, you can store the string inside the one list. But array, you have to be defined. The array is a kind of a homogeneous data collection. Like if you want to create one array of the string, that means it have only the string kind of a data, if it's not contain the integer or float kind of a data. But list give us this flexibility. So the list, so working with the list is much more comfortable compared to the array. So where we are, we have to be add the string at the first index position in the list. How we will do? So here I can't use the append method, like I explained you previously what these methods do at the broad point of view. Why I can't use the append method? Because if I use the append method, it will add the my string at the end of a list, but I wanted the first index, so I have to be use here the insert. So what the insert method do here, my list dot insert, I want to add at the first index position, and I want to add the name as say the Ram. So now if I print my list here, my list, so you can see here the Ram come at the first index position, it's not come at the last index position. So that's the way to add the element in the any index position by using the insert method over the append method. But the most important point here is that insert method is computationally expensive. Why I'm telling it is a computationally expensive? Because you have to be search the element, you have to be search first which index position you want to put the element. So it have to be iterate. So suppose this Python not give us this insert method, and I want to write the code from the scratch, what we do generally in the C language. So we have to be write the code from the scratch, we have to be iterate, through the list, we have to be search first index position, then we have to be add the element. But here we have a flexibility, like you pass the index position and we can add the element. So insert method is computationally expensive compared to the append method. So that's all about the append and insert. Let's move to the next and the last method of adding the element. Not the last, I think. Yes, not the last, because I have to be show you one more thing. So what the extend method do? Extend method is useful when we have an objective to add to create one bigger list from the two list. There we use mostly the extend method. So to use the extend method, I have to be create first a new list. Now I want to be create one bigger list from the my list and the new list. So let me show you what I have the two list here. I have one my list and I have one new list. Print new list. Let's see. Okay, I want to create one bigger list from this two list. So if I use here append method, let's not use first extend method. Let's understand why we need extend method over the append method. So if I use here append method, what will happen? It will create the nested list for me. It not create the bigger list for me. It will create the nested list for me. Let's see. Let's see by an example. So my list dot append and put the new list. And if I call my list here, see, it's create the nested list. What I want to create the bigger list, but by using the append method, I am getting the nested list. I don't want to get the nested list, I want to get the bigger list. So that's the, if our objective like this, then we have to use the extend method. So again I'm defining the list, my list, because now the my list become this one. I'm defining the again it, and we will use the extend method there. Okay, so again my my list is 1 2 3 54 and new list is 0 India Pakistan. So in the place of the append, if I use here extend, if I use here extend, you can see now I can get the bigger list. So that's my motive actually here to show you about these three methods. Now the another thing come, like we study in the tuple, if we want to create the bigger tuple from the two tuples, we just add it, we just concatenate by the addition. So same thing we can do in the list also. So if I want to add the new list, I'm creating the new list here, 1 2 3 1 2 4. If I create the new list and I want to add it into the my new list, so I just copy new list here and new list plus a. Okay, we get the same bigger list with the help of this addition also, what we get from the and the same result we get by the using the extend method also. So which is much more good to use. So if again, if it is not about the performance, then you can use anything, but if it is when you are dealing with a kind of a bigger data and it's come like a matter come like a performance, you want the fast, then you have to use the extend, because the addition is computationally expensive compared to the extend. So that's the reason you have to use always the extend. So all these 3-4 method I covered in this part, like how we can add the element to the list. Also I will share this notebook at the end of this chapter 3. Now moving forward, when we add something, now our responsibility come to remove also something from the list. So how we can remove the element from the list? So to remove the element from the list, we have the two method. We have one pop and when we have the remove. Now where to use the pop and where to use remove? If you want to remove the element, that means if you want to delete the element from the list by its index position, you have to use pop. And when you want to remove the specified element, you will use the remove. Okay, so let's see one by one how we can remove. So I have my list here, my list. Okay, 1 2 3 54 0 India Pakistan. I want to remove the third element. Okay, I don't know which element, but I want to remove the third element. So I can use here pop and I can give the index position 3. So if you pass here 3 and again print the my list, so you see we not have now 54 because it at the index position 3. So that's the way pop work. But now what will happen if I forgot suppose to give any index? I suppose I forgot here, I not put any index here, and I just run this one. So we see here Pakistan is removed. That means if you not specify the index position to the pop method, then it will remove the last element from your list. But if you define the pop, if you define the index position to the pop method, then it will delete the specifically that element. But now I not want to delete the element by using the index position. I want to delete the particular element. Say I want to remove the element India from this list. So how I will do? So here I will use the remove. I not use here pop. I will use here the remove. So in the place of the pop, if I write here remove, then here I want to write the specific element. So specific element is India. Now if you see here, so you see in the list we not have now India in our list. So that's the way we can remove the element. So in today's video, what we learn about what is a list, how we define the list, how we can access the element from the list, then how we add the element in a list, and how the list is much more useful in the field of a data processing, and then how we learn how we can remove the element from the list. I am stopping my video here about this list, but I have to cover some more topics, so I will cover in the next video about that, because the next video will learn about the sorting and the slicing. Which slicing is one of the most important and one of the basic concept which mostly used in the data analysis project. So I want to cover that only in the one particular video. So that I'm stopping my video here, and I hope you like this video, and if you like this video, then please like, share and subscribe to my channel for the more videos, and we'll meet you soon in the next video with the second part of a list where we discuss about the sorting and slicing.